Hello everyone, I'm Samantha Tucker, and today I will be teaching you about my educational giant. I chose Catherine Beecher for mine, and so let's just dive right in. She was born on September 6th, in the 1800s in East Hampton, New York, in the United States. She was born to Lyman Beecher and Roxana Foote. She was the oldest of 9, and so she had many siblings that we'll get to further on that were very famous. Her father was a preacher during the Second Great Awakening, and she had many famous siblings that were for the suffrage. One of the first trials that she had was that her mother died at the age of 16. Yes, this was a tragedy, but this also is the beginning of where she started to love education, and it gave her the opportunity to run the household and grow up a little bit. So as she started to grow up and raise the children and run her father's household, she also started to independently study. And with the independent studying, she began to love education, and she's where she is now. She was encouraged by her father always to think outside of the box. All of her siblings were, and that is why so many of her siblings are so famous. She studied at Litchfield Fingal Academy and was taught by Sarah Pierce. She studied independently, but also studied at Litchfield, and it helped her shape her beliefs. One of the most important influences was her fiancé. Her fiancé was a Yale professor named Alexander Fisher. He died in a shipwreck, leaving her not be able to get married. She was devastated and never married and never had children. Because of this tragedy, she was put in institutions a lot, and she was never really the same. He died from a shipwreck, and because of the sadness, never married again. And she vowed after this that she would spend the rest of her life teaching other women. She, if you can't tell, was a woman, always wanted women to have education. She believed that women should gain an education, and however, she did not feel that women should gain an education just to be equal with men. She believed that men and women were equal, but they also had different roles, just like we believe that in our gospel. We believe that, yes, we all are equal, men and women, but we obviously have different roles. For example, in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Church, we believe that men have the priesthood and women are mothers, and we have different roles. And in education, she felt that we need education to be able to raise our families and learn to run a household. She wrote so many books. The books that she wrote were mainly on education and how to run a household and all that. Though she did not become a mother ever, she wrote about this a lot and wrote about how to be a good mother. And though motherhood was most important job because she thought that motherhood was the most important job because at the end of the day, mothers raise the doctors and lawyers. So motherhood and teaching were above all other jobs. And I find that really amazing that she thought that, because it is a big role to be a mother, and mothers have such a big load on their shoulders to raise these children. She did not support the women's suffrage, like I said before. She believed we were all equal, but she did think that men could do things better and women could do things better, and we each had our own role. Catherine was not only a teacher, but also was a writer for many books. Catherine Beecher made an impact on me because she gave women strength and confidence. She also gave women a purpose. She made all of them feel special and like they were needed in society. I'm grateful for this because I wonder where women would be today if we had not gotten this strength. Catherine Beecher once said, "A large portion of those who demand women generous sensibilities." And she said this in 1872. And I love this quote because it's just saying that it just shows how strong she was and how the rest of her family was so strong. Sadly, she died at age 77 in Elmira, New York in 1878. She died from apoplexy, a vulnerable term for stroke. So apoplexy is like bleeding in an organ or loss of blood flow to an organ. And thank you guys so much for your time. And I hope you guys all learned something new about Catherine Beecher. And I hope you guys all realize how she was a huge educational giant, and she has in fact impacted us as a nation, and she has made a great role for women.